Hey, the new teaser for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has just dropped, teasing the official trailer, which will be releasing in 4 days' time on Thursday. If you didn't know, this is the last DCEU film before James Gunn completely takes over and begins his new DC Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. The new DCEU Gunverse will officially start with Superman Legacy. Needless to say, that's make or break for DC, as the mainstream has apparently moved on from the superhero genre. Remember, Gunn's Superman is slated for 2025, and a lot can happen in that amount of time. It can get better or it can get a lot worse. Who knows, by the time they release this movie, people are fully occupied with another trend, and we are seeing that tail end of the genre. And it doesn't help when you come out the first few weeks as co-CEO of the studio and announce that your entire lineup that's coming up doesn't really matter. There's been talk about Gunn's plans overall, which is worth a whole nother video of its own, but to me, he's jamming a whole lot of characters in what's supposedly a Superman-centric movie. Given his body of work, it isn't all that surprising that he's opting for an ensemble approach to the story, but I guess we'll see. But that isn't to say that DC has been breaking ground in the cinematic universe as of late, with a string of failed movies like the Flash flop Paradox, aka Batman featuring 2 Ezra Millers, Black Adam with a whole bunch of nonsense with Henry Cavill cameoing, Shazam Tantrum of the Gods, and most recently Blue Beetle, which has crawled its way to $60 million with a budget north of $100 million. DC has lost hundreds of millions over the past year, and needless to say, it's not looking great for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. First movie was good, and a lot of the elements from that movie is coming back for round 2, like James Gunn, of course, Jason Momoa, Yahya Abdul-Mateen as Black Manta, but it also comes with Amber Heard. And apparently, Warner Brothers doesn't learn from their mistakes, and that's controversial figures in your movie won't help it succeed no matter how you sideline them during the marketing. And it seems that's exactly what's happening here. We see very little of her in the teaser. You can see her kind of hanging out in the background, but don't get me wrong, she will be in the movie. In fact, it seems Warner Brothers just stopped trying with the marketing altogether because it's basically non-existent. Now, the actual teaser opens with a scene from the first Aquaman movie. This is the scene where we just watched Arthur and Mera travel through the trench, after which they wash up on the shore of a place they call Land Before Time. Here they meet his mother, Atlanta, and this shot actually pulls directly from that first film when they first meet, which means that there's some significance of that place to the plot of the film. Alternatively, this may signify ties with Atlanta herself. And we do see some of the creatures of the trench pop out with a few upgrades. They seem to be wearing old-timey golden armor, which you see some of them wearing, and it's like they're being unleashed out of their lair. You can see blue and red flare on the screen. That reminds me when Arthur and Mera swam down to the trench from the first movie. Now, the movie's title is The Lost Kingdom, which might refer to Atlantis itself being destroyed, or even an older kingdom with power or maybe technology that Black Manta is going to discover. As I said, there's some imagery of some kind of old technology here that's actually rumored to be a part of the plot. In it, Black Manta will apparently discover an ancient black trident which he'll use against Atlantis. Later on in the teaser, we see a giant underwater structure crumbling, which might be the Atlantis throne room getting completely destroyed. Next, we see a shot of Arthur swimming away from a downed vehicle. We catch his brother Orm here, played by Patrick Wilson, standing in front of what looks like an old-fashioned submersible that's got a cockpit based on the iconic OG diving suits, which incidentally looks like the helmet of James Wan's production company, Atomic Monster. This grabs him in the next shot, which seems to be way too overpowered for a mere submersible with arms, indicating that there's some connection to that old tech or power that thing Manta has supposedly discovered. From the looks of it, Arthur's entire life on both the surface and under the sea will be under attack from Black Manta, as he says,
"I'm gonna kill Aquaman and destroy everything he holds dear."
On the surface, we see his father's lighthouse in ruins, and I actually think that Thomas Curry has a high probability ending up dead in the film, as kind of an eye for an eye kind of thing. You remember Manta blames Aquaman for his dad, Papa Manta, during the submarine sequence. Then we see Arthur Atlanta rushing up the steps, making me think that Thomas might have been killed during that attack. The Green Trident itself must have given him godlike powers to take on an entire kingdom. And so it's going to take the combined might of Aquaman, Atlanta, and Orm teaming up and stopping a super-powered Black Manta. Rumor is Amber Heard's character won't be in the movie all that much because she's taking care of Arthur and her baby, but she will be in the movie. So Orm isn't a bad guy anymore, but seems he's going to team up with Arthur to stop Manta from destroying the entire kingdom of Atlantis. Next scene, you see Atlanta fleeing some of the bad guys here. You can see some of the helmet octopus subs that grabbed Orm in that last scene. I'm guessing this is Manta's forces going all out war on Atlantis. Aquaman riding on the back of a seahorse. I guess this would be Aquaman's trusty seahorse Storm from a DC Super Friends, but I think they should have made it purple. From this, we see Aquaman defending himself against a giant sea creature, and he uses his trident as a shield. Then a scene of basically the Atlantis highway getting hit by massive projectiles. Next we cut to him holding court, maybe before it blew up, before going toe to toe with Manta. In his hand, we can catch the black trident, which again glows green. There's some green magic emanating from it. I don't know about you, but it looks kind of like kryptonite to me. But of course it's not. It's like super old magic that's probably the counter to Arthur's trident, although it shouldn't be giving off that green radiation if it's kryptonite, which seems to be enveloping Manta here. From the looks of it, it's going to give him powers enabling him to breathe underwater and maybe give him superhuman strength like Aquaman. The final scene is of Arthur sending out a call from his trident, and this is to probably call in reinforcements because they're kind of getting their ass kicked. Arthur already has the ability to speak to sea creatures, but his trident amplifies this multiple times over. Nonetheless, there's a chance that Manta's trident gives him power over the creatures in the trench, taking it over from Arthur's control, which would tie into them wearing armor and enhancements and all that nasty stuff. These trench creatures are very powerful and would definitely pose a threat to Atlantis if he has control over them in that way. Either way, that closes out the teaser, and we of course know we're getting the full one on Thursday, and hopefully we get a lot more detail on what's going on. Now, some of the CG looks suspect to me, especially with the Atlanta stuff, making me think they'll hammer more on this in post-production, but it still has that colorful vibe to it, so that's a good positive thing for this trailer. Stylized, but this movie looks to rely heavily on CG. The movie has been said to have really bad test screenings, and with the ongoing Hollywood strikes going on now, there's not much left for them to do about it. I haven't seen any sort of hype around this movie at the moment. As I said, James Gunn's announcement of the reboot has left a lot of things questionable up in the air, and fans are left wondering if it's even worth seeing because it's going down the drain anyway. Whether it's good or not remains to be seen. At the very least, it's coming from the good graces of its predecessor, so there's that. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Please drop a like on the video, and if you want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Any support goes a long way. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.